Yeah, that's the good part. We're starting off different. That's all good. We don't have to do it cleanly. Hello. Welcome, everybody, to the Global Latin Factor podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. Thank you very much for being here, for joining another episode with an amazing story. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're doing. It's been about 3 years. What are we waiting? What are we waiting for? Please subscribe because it helps us a lot, and especially if you like and leave a comment. These amazing stories that we are sharing. As I told you before, what the Global Land Factor is. Today, we have an amazing person with an amazing story. Has been through some, can't believe some of the things that she's been through, and some of the work she's done. We have a actress, model, who started modeling back in 2012. And this is what I found on YouTube. On Google. I don't know if it's true or not. Films such as Crave, Root of Evil, Hanging On in 2024, and The Diamond Tester 2022. So she can tell us maybe about those. Lisseth Nava en la casa. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah,
Nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure. I seen you before at the homies, the Council show. Should to be coming back. I know they will. But I thought it was pretty cool, your story. I was listening to the episode because I usually check out their stuff too. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't know. Here in Dallas, I seen you probably in some maybe social media, mutual people. But I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool what she does. Was that intro correct? Was those films something that you already completed?
Yes. Well, one of them is not completed as of yet. The Root of All Evil is not officially done, but it's still in the process of being edited and being filmed. I do have another one that's going to be coming out. It's called Sugar City, and it comes out on January the 9th of 2025.
Okay, so add that one to the list and make sure she goes give us the details on the premiere.
Yeah.
And where is it going to be at? Okay, but first we get to the good stuff. We're going to start with a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile. I know you like to enjoy good meals. Good meals.
Preguntas al Chile.
¿Lista?
Sí.
Tacos or tortas?
Tacos.
Yeah. What is your favorite go-to taco?
Al pastor.
Al pastor?
Yeah.
Okay. Corn tortillas or flour tortillas?
Corn.
Gorditas or pupusas?
Ay. Gordito.
Gorditas. Mexican coca or jarritos?
Oh, that is a hard one. I would have to say Mexican Coke because those are hard to find.
Yeah, definitely. And then I know people like people there, Caucasian people that are like, they're different.
Yeah.
I just got into Mexican coke. I was like, oh, you're never gonna leave them.
Oh, yeah.
Agua de horchata, Jamaica, or tamarindo.
Horchata.
Horchata, yes. Elotes, or I don't know. So this one's interesting because the people call it different names. And elote and esquite. I don't know if you know what the difference is.
No, I don't know.
You know,
Elote.
En vaso.
En vaso.
Salsa verde or salsa roja.
Salsa verde.
Salsa verde. Menudo or pozole.
Pozole. That's a hard one, but pozole.
Pozole?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
I like
there's different kinds of pozole, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Minimum 3 of them. The white one, the red one, or the green one. Which one do you?
I would have, man, that is a hard, that one is a hard one.
Yeah.
I would probably say the red one.
Yeah. Red one's pretty good. Fun fact about me, I plant-based, vegan, plant-based, you could say. And my mom makes some with mushroom, but it's white. But I like to put all the other stuff like the oregano and the chile piquin on it, and limon, and then some repollo or cabbage.
Yes, cabbage. Yeah.
Freaking good. With some tostadas.
Yeah. Good.
Hassan over there choking. You okay, bro?
Someone's getting hungry.
Cumbia dancing or salsa dancing?
Cumbia.
Cumbia, yeah. Valentina, Tapatio, or Cholula hot sauce? This was different. Not even close to the other ones. We're going to entertain conspiracy since forever and a day. I think it's funny. I think they have an origin of something, of truthness sometimes. Later on in the years, you find out, oh, no, that was kind of real. A conspiracy theory that you heard one time, that as soon as you heard it, you're like, that could be true.
Okay, so I think the government actually released this now, but before, something that I was like very like thrown off about. You know how like back then they used to be like, oh, UFOs are not, or aliens are not real, blah blah blah. Okay, well, I had two separate times where I saw something. I don't know what it was.
Here in the Dallas, Texas
Yeah,
area?
yeah.
Oh,
No, I live out in the country, so like you can see the sky clear as day,
yeah.
basically. And one I actually have one of the videos. I recorded it. And I saw like I don't know what it was, but like I started recording it and it's just like as soon as I started recording it,
Yeah.
it's like the lights around just turned off. It's like it disappeared and you couldn't see anything anymore. And I just thought that was really weird. And I was like, no, it's just to me, it's just like not logically to me for us to only be the ones here on Earth, you know?
Yeah. Is
I
that the one you recorded or is that the other time?
No, that I recorded.
Okay.
I had recorded that one, and then the other time, the second time, I had gone to go pick up pizza for my kids at night, and on my way back, I had seen like this orb-looking thing, and it looked like it was falling, but then it like picked up, and it almost looked like a J, and then it just took off. Like if you would have blinked, you would have missed it.
It's crazy.
And it was two different looking crafts. So I'm just like, like.
So you can kind of sort of tell they were crafts or based on the lights?
You could tell. You could tell. Like the orb looked brighter than the LED is the best way that I can describe it.
Yeah.
And it was at night, so I mean it was like bright up there. And then the second time it looked like it was round and almost like if it had like lights or windows that like lit up and then all of a sudden everything turns off. But it's just weird. I'll have to show you the video. I'll show it to you after.
So if you can send it to us, I don't know, we'll be able to post it or clip it in some way, somehow. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like the way that you said it seems like logical that if this universes are infinite, that will be the only thing that it's made. We've been very fortunate, like just to think how creation, how Earth, how everything just came to be. Like everything I lined up so perfectly for us to be here, right?
Mm-hmm.
To say that nothing else in the freaking infinite universe that didn't happen is crazy to think that. Or it could be very lonely to think that we're the only thing out there.
Yeah, but see, not only that, I have a theory that it might. I mean, yes, they might be in that outer space as well, but I think they're like within here. Like I think they're within our underground, or like under the ocean, or they live probably within us, just without our knowledge.
I heard not that long ago, I heard rumors about places inside Earth with everything looks like the outside of it.
Really?
I mean,
But inside?
Inside because we never actually dug so deep in there that there's, okay, this is all conspiracy. This is nothing proven. I have no scientific nothing.
Yeah, but I'm sure that only certain people have access.
Yeah. So to think that there's nothing within our Earth inside of it, that there's other, with literally a sun and sky and everything inside, I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
That is.
Yeah. Makes you want to think.
You know what? It makes you think of that saying, as above, so below.
Yeah, so below. What's below? We were talking, why we want to focus on getting out of, great that we want to become a different planetary body, right? But the ocean, like you said earlier, the water, we don't take, like we don't do a lot of this. We our own thing in the forest, the Amazon, all that stuff. We don't take our time to go explore on. Why don't we want to take our technology to go over there? I mean, there is people but not enough resources to be able to put more resources to get it out of here. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
When you hear the word Latino or Latina, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is proudness. I am proud to be a Latina because it allows me to like represent the Latino industry.
Yeah.
And so to me, hearing Latina is, I don't know, like to me, it's like I'm a voice for the Latinos. So it means so much to me. It's not just Latino or Latina.
So you don't mind if anybody calls you Latina? Do you prefer another term for you as far Mexicana? I don't know if you're Mexicana or not, but or anything like that. Or
I mean, to me, I don't get offended over titles really. I would just be, I would prefer just to be called my name, but I mean, titles, I don't, it doesn't bother me.
Cool. Okay, so let's get to your story. I think you have an interesting story. I heard a little bit about it, with the cancer show, but I wanted to dig just a little deeper on the things that you've done so far. So, but I just like this question, and I just like to know just if there's a beautiful story there we can share.
Yep.
Like, so you're Latina, Mexicana. Where's your heritage? Ethnicity, you would say.
My mom and my dad were raised in El DF, and they came here before I was born. And I was raised here, and I've gone to Mexico maybe like 2 or 3 times. And I guess because of the whole separation between my parents, it became very difficult to travel out to Mexico and just stuff like that. But I mean, now that I'm an adult, I'm able to go. So I love being able to just get up and go and not needing like certain permissions or signatures and whatnot to travel out. And I mean, it's awesome.
That's
Because before, you can't, as a child, you can't travel out of the country unless you have the signature of your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
So now it's like, hey, I'm a grown up, so I get to enjoy the country and go as I please.
Yeah. Do you happen to know their story? How did they even make it from the DF? By the way, I have family in el DF. Saludos a todos, mi gente chilanga. I know they might not like that. And there was a clue when whenever you said cumbia, I was like, ooh, I wonder if she's from Mexico City. I really thought about it. I'm like, because they love their cumbia. Okay, so do you happen to know if their story of how they made it here to the U.S., why they leave, and how their journey here?
I know. Well, my dad always tells us about how he started when he came here. He started with 2 quarters, with 50 cents, and how he ended up getting a job at I guess it was a Chinese restaurant, and he would walk like several miles and just to make it to work. And they helped him out. Of course, he was an immigrant, so they would pay him cash and help him with like homing and stuff like that. And of course, the pay wasn't a whole bunch because they were providing him a shelter. But he managed to go from there into leaving that and getting a better job, getting more on his feet. And of course, now he has like his own house, land, and he has more land in Mexico and Cancun. And so he's always like, oh, I came from 50 cents and like now I'm here. But in Mexico, he did go through his career as an electrician. But whenever he came over here, of course, the degree doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not valid, basically. So he had to start all over. So that's where he started at the Chinese restaurant.
And what about your mom?
My mom, he ended up marrying her, or he came here, worked hard, and then went over there. The way that they met is they were neighbors. So they would literally live across from each other. So he basically worked his butt off, and then once he was able to get enough money, he went over there, got my mom, came over here, started their life here, and here I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What area were you born here? In the Dallas area?
Yeah, I was actually born in
Parkland, baby. Nothing wrong with Parkland. Hey, I check out Parkland now.
Yeah.
Came up a long way. Well, I never saw the old one, but I saw the new
I
one.
haven't seen the new one yet. I've seen the old one.
It looks
Yeah,
very good.
nice.
Very, very pleasant place. I don't like going to hospitals.
Hospitals, I hate.
I don't like hospitals. I don't like to, but if I have to, I will.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. By the way, you get lost very easily.
Fun fact, the day of my car accident, I didn't want to go to the hospital. It's not that I didn't want to go to the hospital. I didn't want to go into the ambulance because, man, those ambulances cost a lot of money. And that hospital was like literally right around the corner. Oh, don't ask me how much that bill was.
5 G's?
Oh,
10 G's?
it was up there. It was up there.
Jesus.
Just for the ride. I mean, it wasn't okay, so the hospital was maybe 2 to 5 minutes away from the place. My bill came up to like 2 G's or 2 to 3 G's. Just
For like 2-minute joyride.
Yeah.
A joyride, I mean like uncomfortable, right?
And I'm not I'm not a person that likes to take medicine, take drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, it was just the ride. They didn't even give you medicine or nothing. It was just a ride. I'm just like, it's the most expensive ride ever.
Okay,
Oh,
so we're gonna keep you in suspense because the we'll talk about the accident here very shortly because it's crazy. The story that it's just crazy. All right, so let's dive into what you've been doing. So you, in your mind, never had any idea of any modeling as a girl, as a little girl. Did you mimic anything as movies? Maybe you thought one day crazily, like, oh, maybe one.
yes, actually, I did, and it wasn't until me now that I'm actually in the industry that I think back, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like maybe I already knew I wanted to do this as a little girl, and maybe I forgot along the way, becoming a grown up, and
Mhm.
now it's just like I love what I do, and I see, I don't know, I just see my inner child come out through the entertainment industry. But whenever I was little, I was about 5 years old. Um, I don't know who is not a fan of Selena
Of
Quintanilla,
course.
but I was. And so, I would turn on the TV and I would always like watch the movie and like, I would like turn on all her videos and her music and turn it on and just dance in the living room. And I would always be like, mommy, mommy, like, I'm gonna be like her. I'm gonna be in front of the TV and that. And
Speaking into
yeah.
existence.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
I sure did because, then, once I was actually in front of the camera and at the very beginning, it was more of like curiosity. It wasn't of "Okay, this is what I wanna do and this is what I'm gonna go for." It was more of like, "What is this? If I haven't done this before, am I even good enough?" Like, it's just so many questions and doubts, and so I was just like, "You know what? F it. I'm gonna give it a shot and just see where it goes. If it takes off, then cool. It goes somewhere. And if it doesn't, well then, maybe I need to get a new hobby or just go practice even harder at it to, become really good. And so yeah, I ended up just after that first film, just go back into the snowball effect. I went back in. I did take a break from the industry. Whenever I had my kids, I just focused just on my kids and I was just like a full-time mom. And once my youngest became a little bit older and, she went to school, I'm like, okay, now it's time to like try to focus on me and like do follow my passions
Yeah,
and
of course.
pursue what I want. And so that's whenever I started like to pursue it more. And then like the more that I did it, the more I liked it, the more I like kept booking and booking and booking. And, it's just like God is so good that he just kept opening door after door after door. And, I ended up being acknowledged by now she's the CEO of my agency now.
Mhm.
But she had seen like my work and how like my bookings were out there so much and she kept seeing me like out there in the industry so much and she was just like she would ask me like a good 3 times to like have me signed. And at first I didn't want to just because I was very I always like to like check out people first before I sign any contracts or
Yeah,
something
of
like
course.
that. And after a while, I was just like, after the third time, I was just like, you know what? Like, I've worked with a lot of like the people that work for your agency. Like, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. And ever since, I've been good. I have my agency to back me up. It's a bad habit. I still do search for my own jobs as well, just because, I started out off as independent and like whenever like since ending of 2019 to what was it? 2022 was whenever I was just independent. Those 2 years I did 2 to 3 years I did all my bookings, I did all my scheduling, everything myself, which I ended up getting an agency because it took a lot of time away from my kids. I was there. I was there with my kids, but I wasn't present with my kids because I was always like, okay, I gotta look for another job or another gig or let me audition to this, let me audition to that. And, you end up getting caught up on just searching and searching that, time goes by and then you miss out on the chance to be with your
Yeah.
family. So, that's why I ended up signing up with my agency because it just helped. It's so much more convenient. Now I just focus fully on my kids, on being a mom, and she and my agent Nick do basically all my bookings. They send in all my auditions.
And what is the name of the agency?
Icon Studios.
Icon Studios
Yeah.
out of Dallas, Texas?
Yeah.
Awesome. Icon Studios out of Dallas, Texas. Okay,
Yeah.
let's backtrack just a little bit before we get to the acting part. So in 2012, so roughly, you began modeling first, right? Before you even began to, the cameras begin as far as the acting. How did Mr. Joe Arenas find you, or how did y'all connect to even begin to even get on camera and let's say begin to get a little bit of experience on taking pictures? Do you kind of sort of recall, or did he just reach out to you?
Out to me on social media, but I can't fully 100% remember, but I think it was social media. And at first I was always been super sketch because I mean I have been approached before about like modeling and stuff like that. Once even before he approached me, I got a message to be sent to New York. And so I was just like, no, at the time, I think I was 17.
Just randomly though, nothing. You had no portfolio, no pictures, nothing.
No,
Just
that was before acting.
posting
It
on.
was just somebody that just reached out, and I was just like, no, this is super sketch. Like, how do I know like they're legit? And like, I didn't know anything about the industry either. So, my mom was just like, no, you're not doing it. You're not going to another state for any modeling or anything like that. So I was just like, okay, well, whatever.
Said Instagram, Facebook. How did they reach out to you?
Facebook. I think it
Okay,
was Facebook.
and then move fast forward. Then he was. How was his approach? I mean, do you remember if he was online or was in person by any chance?
I think it was Facebook as well. I want to say, yeah.
You get the message. You read the message. How do you receive it? Is it again first experience? Kind of sketchy. You kind of get a vibe, but this time maybe you kind of go through his profile and kind of sort of see that he really does this.
Yeah, I did see that he was an actual photographer. He did have his backup, and then he did send me portfolios to like check out his work and if I was interested. So it was a lot more professional. And so that made me kind of like, oh, okay, well, I mean, should I give it a shot? I mean, I think whenever I ended up going, I took a friend because I'm very just it's always good for anybody that's wanting to join part of the industry. Never go alone to any of these things, just for your safety and just in case of anything. But yeah, I ended up taking a friend with me, and she went, everything went good, the photo shoot went good and everything. I never once did I felt uncomfortable or anything like that. And then I kind of liked it, and I was just like, okay, this isn't so bad. And after that, then
what were you doing right before that? What was like your everyday, normal per se, regular Joe or Jane? What were you doing right before that?
Before that, I was working like 2 to 3 jobs at a time. So like my senior year in high school, I was working 2 jobs and I was going to high school. And then after I finished high school, I was always between 2 to 3 jobs.
Was it waitering? Was it in the customer service, retail? What kind of?
I did so many. So I did work in retail. I worked in a clothing store. I worked in a fast food. My first job was at a Whataburger. My second one was at a Wingstop, which I ended up starting at the very bottom, and I worked my way up to manager. Then after that, I ended up moving to Radio Shack, which I started at the very bottom, and then they ended up giving me 3 stores, so that I was managing 3 stores. And then from there, I was HR, so I did all the hiring and firing for a company that basically built buildings, and then we had a construction site that built the buildings, and then we had a cleaning site that went in and basically emptied out, cleaned out the building for the people to move in. And so I did the HR for all them. And then after that, I used to work for or it used to be Arbitron, then Nielsen bought them over. But we did the ratings for the television and the radio.
Yep, I know you. I know you're talking about too over there by where the Estrella TV is, maybe around that area.
Yeah, well, I heard that now they got bought over by another company.
Estrella,
is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Whenever I left, it was still Nielsen. Nielsen had bought them over, and I think they were with them for like 2 to 3 years, and then that's whenever I had my oldest, and I.
Okay, but you were still doing that, and then the modeling at that time. Okay. So you do the first photo shoot. It went great. You liked it. Kind of maybe a little opened up something for you. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then after that, when is the next few things that you get to do within the car scene?
So after that, okay, so through Joe, I met someone called Raphael. And so Raphael also saw something in me. I don't know what it was, but he also saw something in me as well as Joe did. And he is just all like, hey, I want to try to like get you in front of the camera, but on the video side. I know you're working with Joe on like photography, but like, are you interested in maybe like doing a few commercials or just doing more video work? And I'm like, well, I mean, I haven't done that before, but I'll give it a shot. So that was my next window open to I did a Brian Loan Car commercial back whenever he was a big attorney.
Yeah, big attorney.
Yes, so I did a commercial for him, and I was on the Spanish side. So that was my very, very first commercial. I ended up doing my very first music video, and it was, what was his name?
Local guy, Dallas.
Yeah, he's local. He's from Dallas, but I can't remember.
Somewhat known, not too known.
Not too sure. I do know that like he sang, like he did create his own music, and then he sang like in weddings and stuff. But I don't know how big he was. But then after that, fast forward later on, the second music video that I did was for Caleb McIntyre, the country artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
I did his music video, and with his it was a total accident. One of my friends, which I actually met, and through him I got interested in the video side of it. Because Raphael had got me connected to getting a few gigs like here and there. And one of the gigs that I ended up booking was a call girl. Not that kind of call girl.
What kind of call girl?
But like, whenever you have a list of people, of all the actors that are about to like go behind and do their audition. So I had to call out their name and, take them to the back and, let them do their audition.
Oh, so you're part of the audition. You're the one that just calling them.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So I said, not that kind of call girl.
not that one.
But yeah. And so I ended up taking them, and it was for a MTV commercial. So I was like looking, through the little window how they did the audition and everything. And then the guy that was filming the auditions, me and him became really cool because, I mean, we were pretty much working all day. And whenever they were reviewing the camera and like all the auditions, he's just like, oh, you want to come see? And I'm like, sure. I'm like, if you don't mind, because I'm very...
He's so polite.
I'm kind of like nosy, I guess.
But you're so polite too, though.
Yeah. It's just like I want to see because I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah.
And so he let me see it and everything, and I just thought it was pretty awesome how like people were able to like give different moods. And I mean, I took them back there, so I got one side of them, and then whenever they did their audition, I got to see that side of them, and I just thought that was so cool. And from that point, that's whenever like the film industry started kind of like, became a little bit interested in.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I'm like, that would be cool to do commercials, or that'd be cool to do movies. And that's like where it initially started, like the spark. Of course, I didn't think I was good enough, so I didn't pursue it. And I let a few times go by, and I just stuck to the modeling and just like, a few like music videos and stuff like that. And then, and then I ended up getting brave and, stepping into that unknown and just trying it out. And ever since I did, I loved it.
Okay.
And now I'm hooked.
Before we go into that, what was the feeling like? What was it feeling like whenever you saw your very first commercial? For me, sometimes hearing me on the pod is not so cringy anymore, but it's a little cringy because I've been on TV before too. So I've been in big stuff. Y'all can find it, y'all can tag me on it, but I've been on big major networks before doing some stuff. So I was like, it's cringy whenever at least for me,
when you
and even hearing yourself or watching yourself, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's done. So I'm like, okay, it is what it is. How do you feel like whenever you say your first commercial and it's playing on TV?
To be honest with you, it gives you like a sense of like accomplishment. Like, dang, I did that. Like, because whenever you're filming it, you're doing this take from this angle, this take from that angle, and this and that. Sometimes it gets to the point where you do repeat so many stuff that you're kind of like, oh man, we got to do it again, and stuff like that. But it's okay because every take that they're doing, they're trying to get a different expression out of you. So it may be like it could be 2 takes, it could be 30 takes. It just depends on the vision of the director. Whatever they're trying to like get out of you or get out of the scene, they'll do as many takes until they're able to like put it together. And yeah, to me, it's just a sense of accomplishment because, you have to do so many retakes. You gotta like, do hair, do makeup, that deal with wardrobe, and then, deal with your lines and stuff like that. So, of course, once you see the final product, it's like that sense of accomplishment, like, yeah, all my hard work and it's finally here, I see it.
That's pretty cool. I like that. And I think it might be a Latina thing, where a Mexicano thing will be like, no sé, but le doy, a ver qué pasa. Let me give it a go. Let's see what happens. I don't, but let me try it. See what's up. And that's just can open up all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to me, honestly, like where that point came into play was whenever I felt like I basically had pushed myself in the back burner, and I was like, man, I need to start like putting myself first. And like, now that the kids are in school, like, let me see, what do I want? What do I want to do? Like, what are my passions? Like, there's something that like I need to pursue or need to chase that like keeps me happy. And this is what like accidentally I stumbled upon, and it became my passion, and I've loved it ever since.
Okay. So today I heard that passion is something that you would willing to literally die for. There's a thing that you like something, and there's a thing that you're passionate for.
Yeah.
And again, you're willing to lose your life doing it. Is this something to get to that level for you?
Yeah. And to me, where I realized that it was at that level was after the car accident, because I was going through so much health-wise that in my brain, like, I didn't want myself to be an obstacle. Like, I refused that my health issues or like my vulnerability at that point in time to stop me from pursuing to continue to do acting, to continue to do what I love. So to be honest with you, like after my car accident, there's a few gigs that I did, and I'm not gonna lie, every single gig that I went to go do, I was in chronic pain, but to anybody around me, I would not let them see that, because to me, it's weird when when you have a passion for something and you love something so much, when you're there, it's like that pain, that switch, it's off. Like you're just in the zone, you're doing what you love, you're in it. Once you leave where you have that passion, it's like that pain hits you like a ton of bricks. It's like, why wasn't I feeling this like earlier? But yeah, it's definitely a drive that you get that you don't want to give up.
Okay. So let's backtrack just a little bit more. By the way, she was a little bit under the weather. And then like, again, if she shows up, it's because she's really showing up. She's not pretending.
Yeah.
Okay. So right
when I'm sick.
when you're sick, before we get to the action, because I really do want to talk about it and dive a little bit deeper on it. What was the first film that the opportunity of presenting itself? You kind of sort of learned, you kind of sort of got the way that they do the casting. What was the first opportunity for a movie? Okay, so we had to take a little pause, but we're back at it. We ain't gonna cut this. We get very as raw as we can possibly can. We're not trying to fake the fun. We're not perfect. But my last question was for you. When was the first opportunity for a movie? How did that come about? I know you've been being the call girl, just calling the cast people. I know that you were kind of sort of sitting through, seeing how the process of a casting. But when was the first opportunity for you?
So my first opportunity was in 2020.
Okay.
I was in a movie called Dry Places that came out. It was on Tubi platform and I believe on Netflix as well.
Oh, nice. What's it called?
It's called Dry Places.
Dry Place. I need to check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And so that was like my very, very first film. So that was like my little foot in the door with the whole film industry.
How big of a role was it?
Well, originally it was a very, very small role, but they wanted to add more time for my character. So they ended up calling me back to go. I think it was the ending of 2021, I believe, like almost like a year and a half later. They're like, no, we want your character a little bit more to be involved and to show you more on camera. So they added me another role to it, and then I had to go back and continue filming for it. So that role, I was a mom of 2 kids.
Kind of fit the role, right?
Yeah.
You already had your kids by that time, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But in my role, I had 2 boys. And so and that one, the main character was the tutor of my boys. And I don't want to spoil the
Go watch the movie.
Yes, go watch
the movie. One more time, the name?
It's Dry Places.
Dry Places. Okay, so you get that opportunity, and that kind of opens up for the rest of the opportunities you have. The Crave, Root of Evil, which is still in the works. Hanging On. Is that one already done and out?
Yes.
Okay.
And that one you can find on YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. And the Diamond Tester?
Yes, Diamond Tester was on the platform of Tubi, Netflix, Prime, or not Prime TV, Prime Time, or yeah. They were in all 3 platforms, and I believe they're still in Prime and Tubi.
That's cool. And any other movies you said that you had?
I do also have another one that it's not listed on there, but I get to work with Little Flip, and we get to work with Linus, the director, and it's like a sci-fi movie, and
That's cool.
that should be coming out, I believe, next year. It's still under the works of production and everything. Normally, to film it, I mean, it can take anywhere between a few weeks to years, and then plus editing takes even longer. So,
what do you want? Cup do it. The cup is not doing nothing, my guy. Keep this part too. Okay. So I don't know too much about film, but I like the whole movie thing. I've been getting compliments recently about, are you in a movie? Oh my God, you look like you could do all kinds of
yeah, you do.
I really do. So, but I like the scenes, right? I like how like, oh man, this is freaking scene is so cool. The way the angles of the camera or how they turn the angle. I'm like, oh, that is so dope. They were able to do that. And I'm like, and the other thing that I learned about films is that a lot of the things that they film is not filmed in sequence. There's rarely a film that gets filmed in sequence. And there's few films that are so secretive as far as like what's happening that they don't tell. They'll give you the script the day of.
Some are so secretive that you have to even sign an NDR, which like you are not allowed to talk about or anything until after it's been released.
Yeah, and then the filming in sequence is never in sequence. They might just start filming the ending with a bunch of takes and everything else, then they just send it over to the editors and everything, and they do the magic. I thought it was crazy. I'm like, wow, this is so dope. Or like the whole movie could be shot like 300. I don't know if you know about 300, but 300 was filmed in this huge looking rock, and the whole movie was filmed there.
Really?
Yes. It's like, of course, there's a couple other places where they shot, but the majority of the film was shot in this rock looking thing. There's a thing on behind the scenes stuff. I like to watch some of those, and that was like, that is crazy how they just out of this area, which is not crazy big. Maybe it was the length of a football field with different looks, but that itself, the lighting and everything, it makes it look like, wow, it's freaking yeah, wow. And 300 is one of my favorite movies. I think it's freaking dope.
I'm not gonna lie, I do know about the movie, but it's funny to say this. Being in the entertainment industry, I don't watch a whole bunch of TV.
Really? I love watching movies. I enjoy them so much. I think every movie, whether it's low budget or high, it's just so freaking the efforts, everything that comes together again, all the things that you need to record, whether it be in sequence or whatever, how many takes it takes, how many angles, the storyline. I was like, wow, this every single movie.
Yeah.
There's only one horrible movie that I did. I don't know. I just thought it was really, really bad. It was about some sheep. They were trying to take over the world and they were evil. Yes. And it looked like puppet sheep, but they were evil and they were trying to, it was late at night. There was nothing else on TV.
Okay.
And I put one of those movies on.
So probably the worst movie I've ever seen. Have you ever seen what is it called? Centipede or Human?
I heard about it, but I never watched it.
So-
Terrible. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
trash.
pass.
Trash.
But that one was worse because it was corny. The sheep didn't even look like sheep. The guy would step on the sheep and you could tell they were plastic. It was horrible. But they were trying to make it kind of scary, but it was more funny than anything.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that was like the worst thing ever. I mean, I get it. They put everybody just like bad. And the sheep sound was annoying as shit. Excuse the language, but it was annoying. I'm like, this is bad. But rarely do I think a movie is bad. I think all of them are. There's a lot of effort put into place to do all that they do.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's exactly one of the reasons why I feel like I can't really watch a whole bunch of TV because I will watch something and I'm the type of person that if I start watching it, I have to watch all of it. So I can't.
Don't start no series.
Yes, that it's hard for me because once my daughter, sometimes they go on and they'll like start something and I'm thinking it's like a movie or something. I'll get hooked. And it turns out to be a show. Well, now I'm having to sit
20 seasons deep.
Oh,
20 seasons deep.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I did that in pandemic. I could finish a freaking series in a matter of 2 days.
Yep.
Man. And it's like 7 seasons.
And and I'll be so tired and I'll be ready to go to bed. But it's like, I have to know what's next.
Yep.
I have to know.
Those cliffhangers, especially in the movies right before the next scene,
Yes.
they're so freaking dope.
Yep. And that's why a lot of the time I just rather, nope, I'm not going to watch it because then I'm going to get too into it. And then it's going to be like 5 hours later and I'm going to still be in front of the TV.
So you have a very interesting way of channeling your when you're acting and whether you get your lines as far as the way you act. I don't know if there's a technique for it. I don't know if you have any name for it, but which is the way that you like to do it? Which is the way that you prefer
As far as lines or like acting?
acting? Yeah, acting.
Okay, so acting in general, to me, the way that I know that everybody has their own way of like doing things and everybody has their own technique. To me, what I figured out that works best for me is that, again, a lot of the times, like, I can be going through a shit ton of stuff and you can see me and I will have a smile on my face and then, you'll think there's absolutely nothing wrong. And whenever it comes to being on set, whether it's a role of like, a tragedy happening in the family or a breakup or a whatever kind of scenario, I can pinpoint something out of that story that I can relate to my story or something that's happened in my story that I can bring that feeling out. And so before I go into doing my role, a lot of the time, and some people like that I've worked with may tell you that whenever I first go in, once I'm like looking at my script, I'm not talking to anybody. And I'm not trying to be rude or I'm not trying to like, come off as like, oh,
Diva.
she can't talk to us or she's too good. No. To me, like my mentality goes, once I'm in front of that script, I'm turning that switch on and I need to wrap my mind around what I'm reading and what I'm about to do in front of the camera. Because to me, the way that I see it is the director, the producer, all the actors that are here, all the background people, all the extras, they're depending on me to get my stuff together and, present what I need to present. Otherwise, guess what? We're going to have to do take after take after take. And not only that, once you hit it like correctly in one angle, then you got to hit it correctly in another angle. If not, you're going to do take after take after take. So I'm not trying to like come off as like, I'm too good or whatever. I just need to really focus and turn on that switch and like bring out that feeling and that trigger or whatever I have to play. So like that, I'm able to like hit it whenever I need to hit it in front of the camera.
Yeah, and another thing that I liked about you is the therapy part of you acting and how it kind of sort of helps you. There's a lot of artists like singers, rappers. There's every session, there's studio sessions they have so much bottled in that when they go in, there's like a therapy session. They just go in expressing whatever they had, whatever it is that they had in mind. They just go in. Is this something that you do also when you're acting?
Yes. That is exactly what I do. And it's funny that you say that because I did attempt getting a little bit into the music industry. The way that I stumbled across that through Sugar City, the film that I'm doing.
You're doing some singing.
Yes. And so through my character, they had asked me, they're like, do you want to lip sync to an artist or do you want to give it a shot and create your own thing? I was like, man, I'm like, I've never sang before. I've never written a song before. I've never done anything music related. You know what? Why not?
You did it.
Yeah, I did it.
How many songs did you got down? Was it one?
Yeah, it was just one. But I mean, that one song, we recorded it several times. One of the times, or the ones that they ended up taking, is one of the recordings that I did while I was running a fever that whole day. And that recording that is on there was while I was running a fever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it feel to hear your sound, hear fully produced? Where did y'all go? Was it a particular studio the set was providing, or did y'all go somewhere?
Yeah, no, they were providing the studio and everything, and we filmed it there. And so during the time that I was like recording for the song to be done, so they can use for the film, they were also recording me like in the studio and stuff like that. So
like B-roll type of how they're going to use. That's dope.
Yeah, so I thought that was really, really awesome. And that same song, I ended up performing one. And let me just tell you, that was my first time ever performing, ever singing in the public. I went from singing in the shower, singing at the studio and creating my own song and my own lyrics, and to performing it in a packed building, like over 300 people.
Is it going to be part of the soundtrack for that movie, or is it going to be something that you're going to put out on?
They are going to use it within the movie, yes. And it is now you're actually able to request it on the radio. You could pretty much find it in any platform. Okay,
so you're able to. What is it called? Your name and what is the name of the song?
It's "Empty Promises" by Lisseth Nava.
What? Let me go find that. I'm gonna find it. Can't believe I didn't find it. I know you were recording a song, but I know that we're gonna put it on different platforms. Okay, so remind me the year that you had your accident.
In October 2022.
So in October 2022, you were driving. It was raining, cats and dogs, very, very terrible storm. You feel like you were driving, something happened in the road, you kind of feel like you hit something, you didn't know exactly what it was, made you kind of swerve a little bit, you remained control of the car, you got out because you kind of sort of thought you maybe had a tire, you recognized, you saw that, oh, yep, I have a flat tire, and then tell us what happened from then.
So, after, figuring out that, yes, the tire is flat, it's down, I ended up calling for help. During the mix of me, calling for help, feeling scared, because all that day I had like just this gut feeling. Like, I don't know if anybody will understand me, or like, if y'all have ever had like just this gut feeling that is like screaming at you. And that day, I don't know, for some reason I feel like something was going to happen. And during that particular part after my tire got flat, I felt like I was in danger. I didn't know why. I was thinking, it's just my tire, but I feel like something's going on. And it was to the point that, like, I don't know, something within me, it was like screaming. It was like, to the point it kind of had me shaking. And I was like telling the father of my kids, I'm like, hey, can you please come get me? Like, I don't know. I was on 35. Now I don't ever really go down that way because I'm the type of girl that if I know how to get from point A to point B, like this one direction, I'm sticking to the direction that I know. I don't like, venturing out of the way or going a different way because if I don't know and I get lost, then I'm screwed, So, that's basically what happened. I ended up skipping my exit and I ended up continuing to go straight. That's whenever the whole flat tire happened. And I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, can you please come get me? This and that. We're talking. I don't remember exactly like what we're talking about, but I hear almost like a whisper, but a loud whisper that sounds like a firm tone of voice. And it was a guy's voice. And all I heard was seatbelt. And although my mind was in the conversation, I was like, okay, well, I was like, I'll see you here, just please hurry up, this and that. I grabbed the seatbelt, click it on. I'm like, all right, I'll see you here. Hang up. I put my phone in the cup holder, and on my way to like my seat, I just remember seeing a bright white light.
To the mic. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I just remember seeing a bright white light, and then that's it until I woke up. Whenever I woke up, I remember this ringing in my ear, especially on my right side. And then I didn't know what was happening. And I remember I felt a lot of pain, but I was so eager to like know what happened because all I knew is I saw like the concrete divider that divided the two freeways, but I didn't know what happened. I was completely lost. So I remember struggling out of the car, and I remember every step that I took like hurt my like waist area so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I was determined to find out because at the time I thought I did something. I was just like, well, what did I do? What did I crash into? Or like, what is this? And so I looked and it just didn't make sense until I turned around to try to get back into my car because the pain got so bad that I just needed to sit back down. So whenever I started walking towards my car, I see that the other car was like behind me on one side and the police started like arriving and everything. And I was just like, what happened?
Was it fairly fast? Did it feel fast to you or did it feel slow?
No, to me, everything felt fast. It felt, well, like the accident, like all of that felt fast, but how can I say it? Fast but slow. Like,
because most likely you were concussed because that's what happens, or in and out of consciousness. Like you're here, blacks out, you're there, blacks out, you're here, blacks out. That's like when you were concussed. I got concussed before. I got kicked in the back of the head.
Okay.
And I was walking and all of a sudden I'm here and all of a sudden I'm over here running and all of a sudden I'm over here like just they blacks out and you come to, and when you come to you're doing something else. So is that what was happening?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean at first I just remember wanting to figure out what that was, trying to get there, lots of pain.
Okay, so again, as I was saying, so when I remember where I got a concussion because I got kicked in the back of the head, and I just kept going like in and out of consciousness. Like I was here one moment walking, the next thing you know, I came to and I was running, and I was on my way back to the because I was playing soccer, so I was on my way back to where the lockers were. So is that kind of sort of what's happening to you?
Yes, it's like there are certain things that like what I was wanting to go for, like I had little zone in, zone out moments. So I know that I was doing certain things, or I know I was going to certain things because I wanted to check it out. Like, for example, the front of the car. I knew that I saw the concrete barriers, so I knew that I wanted to go over there, but I don't, like, I remember getting out of the car, but like to me, it's like, I remember like wanting to see it, but I don't remember getting all the way to the front of the car.
Yeah. Was your door, because I know you said like the only safe, everything got crushed because you were hit very fast. We're not going to go too much into detail because there was unfortunate tragedy and there's still pending things, but your car got hit so bad going at 74 miles. You were at a standstill. You got hit by a car going like at 74 miles an hour, and everything was crushed except for
My
your spot. that you were surrounded by the bags. That's the only thing. And then, so the door wasn't jammed, so you were able to get out freely. And then you got out, and the police arrive, and of course they start checking you, and they take you out. Okay, so you just tell me you didn't want to go to the hospital because of the ride.
Yeah.
But once you were there, what were they telling you? What was the diagnosis? Were they even telling you anything? Were they waiting for your family member to arrive so they can tell them what was going on with you?
Well, actually, before the police officer had arrived, I had talked to the father of my kids, and then whenever the police officer was there, I ended up entering, I think, a state of shock. I don't know what it was, to be honest with you. All I know is that I could not control my body.
Start shaking?
Yes,
You
I
were in
was
shock?
like shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't stop like
You were in
hyperventilating. I
shock.
felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like this I had like almost a pressure on my chest. Um, I don't know. It just again, yeah. I think I was in shock because
You
I
were in
just
shock.
couldn't control myself, and I couldn't stop crying. That's another thing. I couldn't stop crying, and so whenever the police officer had got there, I think he had asked me if I had already called for anybody or for help or anything, and that's whenever I said I think that I had called the father of my kids, and then I remember I had my phone, and I had my phone in my hand, but like I was shaking so bad that I couldn't even like really like do anything on it.
Yeah.
And then I think he had offered to like call him to let him know the situation, and I mean I didn't care. I was just like, here it is. If there's anything that could help you, here you go. And he called him, and he was able to let him know that, hey, the car accident happened. She's gonna be at the hospital, and all that information. Which good thing, because at that moment I could not. I couldn't even control myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so once you get to the hospital, they start treating you for things that, of course, your injuries. What was the most severe injury that you have?
Um. Well, let's see. I don't. To be honest with you, I'm not I probably the concussion. I would probably say, but
But they didn't diagnose you with that at that moment, did they?
no, actually, I never checked my head.
Mm.
No, they didn't. They checked my spine because I did have trouble walking. Whenever I had said that I had got out of the vehicle, I just felt like so much pressure like on my lower back and across my spine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know, like I felt pain, but it's almost like I don't know if I had like the adrenaline so high that, it was probably like not as bad at that point in time. But once I was like released from the hospital and I went home and I was actually able to rest, because the whole time that I was in the hospital, I was still hyperventilating. Like they had to end up giving me like a medicine to control my heart rate and like make it go down, because it was just like it was like high. My heart rate wouldn't stop. Like
How long were you at the hospital for? Was it just a day?
6 hours.
6 hours?
Yeah,
And then they release you?
8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then after that, so that's one part. But a lot of people don't know the things that you have to go through the back, the back scene, as far as like the what goes in the background for you to be able to even recover. So you literally had to, from that accident, literally have to learn how to walk.
Yeah.
So were you bedridden at all at a moment of time, or had?
So after the car accident, I did feel like so much pain, like all across my spine. I did have a bulge disc, herniated disc, and then I guess the tendon that goes from like your neck all across down your spine or between your spine, it tore 25%. So for a year and a half, I basically couldn't do a whole bunch, because for that year and a half, I couldn't strain my back. I couldn't strain anything that would be close to that tendon because it was already torn. And it couldn't, you couldn't have, surgeons go in and fix it. It had to just naturally heal on its own, and it was going to take a year and a half. So at first, oh my gosh, it was crazy because I felt like my head was like an anchor, like it had an anchor. Like sometimes I would feel like I would lose like the ability to hold my head up and like control it.
Wow.
And it just felt like, lots of pain right here. And I would just feel like it would just like be heavy and it would just like go back. And so a lot of the times, I did spend it in bed because of the same reason that I kept feeling like I couldn't control my head. And so at the very beginning, I did have to kind of like relearn how to walk again because from the impact of like the pain and everything, I was basically after I was released and I went home, I was just basically in bed and to the bathroom until like, I was able to feel a little bit better.
Who was helping you at that time? Because you have your babies, your kids, and also as far as like money for everything that you have to do. Did your parents help you out? Was there anybody stepped in to pay you? Was there anything money that the insurance took care of you?
No, I mean, the father of my kids did help me out a lot by helping me out with the kids, of course, because during the time, they need mom for everything, and
Yeah.
I couldn't be there for them, like how I was, back then, or I mean now, yes, it's back to normal, but like, back then. Before the accident, it was like, "Mom, do this. Mom, do that. Mom, come play with me. Mom, let's jump in the trampoline. Let's ride a bike." And after the car accident, I couldn't ride a bike. I couldn't jump in the trampoline. I couldn't go play tag with my girls, It was a big, lifestyle change, like on all sorts of levels, financially, because, I went from being able to be booked all the time to, now, like, I wasn't able to be as active or, like, do certain roles. And, before my car accident, or before the crash, I was starting to get into, like, stunts. And so, like, I was really loving, like, the whole fighting scenes and, like, I was getting back into archery and stuff like that. And I loved it. And after the car accident, I couldn't do archery anymore. I can't do the fighting scenes anymore because I could easily get hurt. And, it just dropped down the I guess the open door of like the possibilities of being able to do anything to just being able to basically do certain roles where it allowed me not to do so much movement. And that's where the inner me came out and was just like, no, like, I'm gonna try to like, tough it up and try to like show up and do certain things or like, certain things that I could fake that I was okay and not let them know that I was injured. I would tough it out and do it. But that was just me, like the inner passion drive where I'm just like, I refuse to like, give up just because of my health. I didn't want my health issues to be a big block barrier for my self-growth. And
Wow.
and that was like one of the biggest push that it made me, even though I was hurting, even though whatever was going on mentally, physically, or emotionally, it's like, come on, keep pushing. And if you want this, and if you want this to be your career, and this is you're truly passionate about this, then you're not gonna give up that easily. No matter if you're going through pain, no matter if you're like, suffering, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. There's always if there's a will, there's a way.
Okay. So you still doing physical therapy?
Yeah.
Every so often. How is the pain level now after what, a year? How long has it been now? Going on 2 years?
I think it's going on, yeah, I guess 2.5 years.
2.5
Yeah.
years. So how is the pain right now? Are you able to get out there more? Are you still having to push through some stuff?
Well, right now I'm still recovering on like health. I didn't get the medical care that I needed for my shoulder until like a year and a half later.
Oh.
And so like I was very limited on mobility of my arm, but again, like I try to suck it up, fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
And so finally they ended up physically seeing me, and I had to basically do this during one of our sessions, and I couldn't do it. And so they were like or my purse assistant. I'm not going to disclose like her title, but like she was just like, well, what's wrong with your arm? I'm like, well, I mean, I've been complaining about this. I'm like, I told y'all I couldn't like use it. I'm like, oh, I don't know if y'all didn't believe me or what, but I'm like, I've been telling y'all, I've been complaining about this for a year and a half. And so they're like, oh, you really are hurt. Well, let's go ahead and get you surgery. And so I ended up getting surgery like a week after they saw that I really was injured. And it's just like, you have me in pain for a year and a half when, now that you see me, you're like, oh, let's get you surgery. And not even a week later, like I'm already getting it done. So it's just like, so yeah, I had surgery July 1st and I've been
This year?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then I ended up starting post-op therapy I want to say in September.
Yeah. So is the road to recovery almost done for you, or is it like in general, not just this is going to take a little while, but overall to get as close as possible to you were before? Is there any chance, or will you ever be there?
I mean, well, so far, I mean, I'm a lot better than where I was. I have received a lots of injections, on my spine, on my neck, on my head, on my leg. With I guess the impact, I ended up hurting my like hip and my side of the leg. What is it? I don't know what it's called, but the tendon that runs from like your hip to the side of your knee.
Yeah.
I damaged that, I guess, with the impact, and it hit the middle console. And so I've been having issues with my legs swelling up. If I'm on my feet more than like 5-6 hours, it'll swell up like 2 inches bigger than my left. Yeah. So I had to get that injection recently, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. And I ended up getting that so like that it can help with the swelling from it getting so big, because it was getting to the point where like stepping on the ground and putting all my weight on it, it was like hurting. So now, ever since I got the shot, I'm good now. I'm better.
And as far as your agency during this time, of course, I don't know how supportive were they. I don't know if they were checking on you. I don't know if they were doing anything to try to get you some gigs some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So how supportive were they for you?
They've been really supportive. They've been like, they know that I'm a hard worker, and they know that like, I've always been booking stuff. They even saw me, they would notice me even before they reached out to me about, getting me signed with them. So, yeah, they did like reach out to me and be like, hey, let us know if you're wanting to be 100%. What percentage are you wanting to be? Do you want us to book you anything? What exactly are you feeling? So like that, we find something that you were able to do. So like that, they started to like help me get booked for like, background or extras, stuff where I could be back there, but I didn't really have to like be seen a whole bunch because of, my issues.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was good because I mean, it's still paid. So, hey, keep getting me paid gigs. I'm fine with that.
I mean, I hope everything you're 100% that you're back to where, because it's crazy that you were not even a person that would take medicine to having to go through all this and everything. Is there any if it was a thing that was to happen to me, I'm really good with forgiving now, but it's a copy fest today. But
I know, right?
But if anything was that to happen, I'm just saying it, right? But if it was to really happen, I would be really pissed at that particular individual for it. Was there any sense of guilt, not guilt, but any sense of like forgiveness, like what the heck were you doing, or any accusing them of like what the heck, like what you put me through, any kind of guilt or anything like that you wanted to relieve at the moment?
I did feel guilty at first, but it wasn't necessarily for anything that happened. It was more because I guess what happened to the other individual didn't happen to me. So I was just more like, why didn't it happen to me? That kind of thing. It was just more like, it just didn't make sense. Like, how come I heard the voice and, maybe he didn't, So it's just like, it's just those questions. It's like, that kind of guilt. But overall, like guilt as in like because my car had a flat tire because I ended up in that spot, and because that happened, that was out of my control. Like I didn't feel guilty because of that. I just felt guilty because of what happened, I guess, afterward.
After that, knowing that you had this sense of this weird feeling in your gut, let's say intuition, that you just didn't feel like. Do you listen to that more often? It's like, I'm not going out today.
Actually, I had been listening to it, and even before the car accident, I had a few certain situations that had happened to me. And again, it's just that intuition and sometimes that voice that I would hear. And just a little quick example is and it's just totally weird. Like God has my back so much that like it's just like he literally tells me and shows me. But one year, many years ago, me and the father of my kids, we were living we were all together. He was in New Mexico. He was working in New Mexico, and I was staying with my girls at the house. And our neighbor next door, she is like a lady, and she had two girls as well. Well, I had noticed one day coming home from getting the girls some food for lunch,
Mm-hmm.
that there was this car in front of our house. And at first, I thought it was my brother. I was just like, hey, that kind of looks like my brother's car. I'm like, but I don't know, it kind of doesn't look like him.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept looking at our houses. And I don't know, I just got like this like gut feeling, like saying, like, go inside. And my daughter thought that that was my brother, so she wanted to go towards the car. And I'm like, no. I'm like, Mama, come on, go inside, go inside. And she's like, no, I want to say hi. I want to say hi. I'm like, no, no, come on. I'm like, it's not him. Just go inside. And I had that like intuition feeling. So later on that night, and no, I didn't know this until the day after, but there had been a suspicious vehicle in the neighborhood, and they had broke into a house. And so then that day, for some reason that night, I could not sleep, and I just like had this feeling, just like that something, like I didn't know what it was, but something. And so I tuck in the girls. Now my girls, room is towards the front of the house. So if there was any access other than the front door, it would have been that window. And so at that time we had bees. And so we had some bees that ended up making their hive underneath like the water thing where you turn off the
a faucet.
Yeah, and it right in front of my daughter's window. Well, that day, I was getting ready to tuck them in because they wouldn't want to go to bed, and I went for the second time to tuck them in, and the guy that was in front of the house popped into mine, and I was like, God, just make sure that he doesn't come back or he doesn't come into this house. And I go tuck them in, come out, and I'm passing in front of the door, and it's almost like I hear, turn it on. And instantly, I know it's the light, but, the logical side of me is like, why am I going to turn on the light? It's just going to waste electricity, and it's already nighttime, so we don't need light while it's dark outside. But I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to fight it. I just flipped the switch, and I left it like that. And throughout the night, I still had issues sleeping, so I would go through the backyard and go from one side of the fence to the other side of the fence because the way my house is, it's hard to look and see in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that all night, just go side to side, and then finally I passed out. In the morning comes, and I do my normal routine. I open up the front door. I wake up my daughter, get her up, and then I come back. And normally, whenever I open up the door, it's already daytime outside. Well, I open up the door and it looks like it's pitch black. And I'm just like, keep on going, get my daughter open, come back, and I see like movement. I see movement on the door. So I'm like, what is that? I get close to the door. The whole entire door is covered in bees. The whole door, like the whole glass door.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, how am I gonna go drop off my daughter to school with all these bees in front of the house? I'm like, Lord, please, can you make these bees just go away? So like that, I don't get stung when I'm trying to take my daughter to school.
Yeah.
And so I get her ready, get her dressed, do her hair, come out. We're getting ready to walk out the door. And as we're walking out the door, there's only one bee left. Yeah. And so that same night, apparently he broke into another house, and that was a street over from us. And then he got caught the next day, on the third day.
It's the same vehicle.
Yeah, same vehicle.
Oh my goodness. That's wild. Crazy stories.
Yeah.
Crazy stories.
As I'm saying, there's like, I don't know, your higher self, God, whatever you want to believe in, but there's something. And, you just gotta be open-minded to it. Because, I mean, sometimes things don't make sense, but if you just hear that little thing,
Yeah.
somehow it could just work in your behalf.
Okay. We're running short on time. Again, thank you so much. She's actually had been sick before, the day before, and she's like being a trooper today, and it's amazing. Again, she's really wanted about it. My apologies to the booking agency for getting directly to her DM and getting to her instead of going to the proper protocol, but I appreciate you being here.
Actually, they're pretty good about that.
That's
because
cool.
anything that I book myself, then it's pretty okay. They're not like that. I feel like for the same reason that they already knew that I was self-booking and everything before.
So just in case for the future, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So before I let you go, please let me know all your social media, where can they find you, and any projects you have working on here in the near future.
Yes. So I will be having Sugar City once again coming out January 9th. I have let's see,
Is it premiere for it in a red carpet event anywhere?
Yes, there is. I do have to check. I can give you the information, and then like that you can attach it so they can know where to get your ticket.
Here in the Dallas area, or what?
Yes, they will be here local.
If we get some tickets, we'll be there.
Yes. And so I also do have another one called On American Soil coming out, and that's going to be coming out 2025. And then also Dynasty. Dynasty is the sci-fi one that I told you about that I was privileged to work with Little Flip.
3 films you have coming up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to give some shout outs? I know that there's probably long list, but anybody that you have particularly in mind?
Let's see. I definitely want to give a shout out to Joe Lozano, my signing agent, Normita Hoven, and Nick Calloway, my agents from Icon. Just because I know it takes a team to make a person successful, and I feel like one of the reasons I'm successful is because I have a good team behind my back to support me, and I couldn't be where I am without my team.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Before the next question, tell me, for an audition, I know it's a numbers game. You have to go to many of them, right? But what is the process? Somebody that doesn't know, they want to begin to do auditions from start to finish. How you even get the lead, to know where to go, to finally when you get there, how long you have to wait till actually it's your turn, to how you even memorize the lines, if any, or just read them, and to finally get in the call to get them booked. Can you walk me through that?
Okay, so if you want to get an audition, either you have your agency, your booking agency, or if you want to do it yourself, you can go through certain websites, for example, like Actors Access or Casting Network, and you're able to just go and search what auditions or what jobs you think you could qualify for. Submit for an audition. They'll tell you instructions on exactly what to do, how to do it. Just follow the instructions, do it.
Do they ask you for headshots or things like that?
Yeah, they'll ask you for headshots, body shots, and waist up. So keep those 3 in mind. It's face, waist up, and then full body.
Full body.
And then sometimes you'll get some that want side views. And then so you send those in, you send your audition in. Usually it's separate. Pictures are one, and then your audition is a different one.
You tape it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually tape it yourself. You edit it yourself, unless you have someone that can do it for you. Then that just it makes it easier on you for you to do your audition. So, after you submit your audition, then you'll have the client see your audition, and then if they think that you're really good for the role, then they'll contact you, and then it's called a callback. So a callback is basically whenever from a big group of people, they selected a smaller group of people. So then the callback is like the final decision of who's going to get the final role. And so if you end up getting that final role, then usually they'll go ahead and contact you, give you the information of where you got to be on set, what time. You do normally have wardrobe. Sometimes it's a different day from the day that you're filming, and other times it's the same day that you're filming. So you'll take a few clothes, or they'll provide clothes for you. You'll have a wardrobe person that says, wear this, with that. And then you just go ahead, put it on. And then they'll let you know once they're ready for you to do your scene. And then that's it.
When I think of an audition, I think of like the old school way to where they call you in the room and there's a freaking line of 1 million people.
Okay, now there was that before 2020. After 2020, then it became more virtual. So then you're able to do it online at the comfort of your home.
But they still can ask you to be there.
Yeah, they can definitely ask you. There's still like people and directors today that would rather see you in person than get a video over the internet, because whenever you're in person, it's kind of like a hit or miss. You're presenting, you got that one shot, and that's it. If you do it online, you can retake it, edit it, and okay, there it's submitted. So I mean, it just depends on the director.
That's pretty cool. Okay, what is an important lesson that you learn in acting, and that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else out? What would that be?
Let's see. My advice would be, in the industry, there will be people trying to take advantage. So always make sure to have a contract and to not sign a contract until you have read everything. Because, you'll have people that will be like, oh, yeah, they can talk up your ear all day long. But at the point whenever it comes down to it, then, they can be nowhere to be found. So that would be one of my advices, just because that happened to me whenever I first started, where I was just like, okay, it was going to be like my first paid gig and whatnot. And super stoked about it. I worked on this project. I lived really far. So like to make it to that project, it took me about an hour to 2 hours one way.
Yeah.
So to dedicate all that time, that gas, put all your efforts into this work, and then either not receive your compensation, or, them just take your video and then you just not see it again. So you do have some of those. So you just have to really be careful and always just make sure that the person is legit.
Do they do direct deposit or checks?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some that do like Cash App. I've had some do direct deposit, where, you do file 1099 at the end of the year. I've had some that is W-2. I actually filmed with The Chosen, and with them it's W-2.
With benefits?
Huh?
With benefits?
I don't know.
You still come with benefits. Don't be frank.
Yeah, I don't know. I was.
You HR too, remember? So
Yeah. I know. I should know this, but I don't know, because I don't know if it works the same with acting.
I mean, it's W-2.
Yeah.
Not 1099. 1099 like a contractor. You can give them nothing.
Yeah.
To pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is a little deeper. I think you're gonna like it, because usually when I wake up, I say something along the lines, and I think it ties to the accident itself, because I remember something happened during that time. I'm not immortal. I am mortal, and I will die one day. And I heard it from this guru guy that said it, and I just really like the phrase itself. Made me think, meditate. I know that this life is not forever. It doesn't scare me or terrify me, right? I think you had a beautiful phrase that you said at one of the interviews that dying is not scary. It's
Not living.
Not living. That's the scariest, and I think it was very interesting. But it makes me hurry up and put a little bit of of me doing stuff, right?
Mm.
Doing this, doing whatever it is that I do it. With that, I wish you a very long, prosperous life. However, after everything's said and done, what do you want people to think and feel about your life?
I mean, honestly, if you can just take anything positive, or if my story inspires you in some way, then, just take it and flow with it. If it I don't know, I mean, maybe one little word that I said inspires someone to, like, go chase their dream, go, chase what truly makes them happy. There's so many people, I feel like, nowadays, that they're so used to working their, like, typical government job, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. And, us as adults, we get lost on our routine. We go to work, we have kids, we have to be a mom or a dad, and, we try to fit our time within our whole 24 hours. But usually by the end of the day, we're so tired to, give ourselves some self-love, because we just want to, we pour so much into other people. And to me, ultimately, like, this accident made me realize that I pour so much into other people that I wasn't pouring into myself. So this accident made me realize that I need to pour into myself, because at the end of the day, when that happened, I was by myself. So there wasn't really anybody around to, like, really be there. So it was very eye-opening. So now I just have a whole different perspective on things. And now it's like I need to search for my happiness. That's where the saying came. I'm not scared of dying. I'm not. What I'm scared of is living in this world and not truly living, just living for other people, living to, whether it's living to work just a 9 to 5 for the government, or, living for our families only. We have to think about ourselves, because, if you really think about it, you cannot pour out of an empty cup. And you have to be happy for you to be able to overflow that happiness onto your kids, onto your friends, onto the people that are around you, because ultimately, your attitude affects those around you.
Yeah. That's beautiful. What at the darkest times at recovery and being in bedridden, what kept you, pushed you, what drove you to be able to just get up and just keep going? At a time that you depression could set in, all kinds of stuff could set in, mental things could set in. What kept you pushing to want to just keep going?
It did. It definitely started messing with me. Just being stuck in bed, not being able to do normal stuff, things that you love, even playing with your kids was like such a drag. And, before I got the injections for the swelling after the concussion, um, I was it was during I was going through an agitation stage. So, like, even my kids, like, screaming or laughing was very agitating, and it's not their fault. It was just the fact that, like, I had suffered a concussion and I didn't get treated for it. So, like, the lights were I was very sensitive to lights. I was very sensitive to sound. So I spend a lot of the time just locked up either in my room in the dark or in a closet. And, it was just because it was that bad. And, finally, after being able to receive the injections, I felt like I was able to be more involved with my family, because, I didn't have to, feel that constant throbbing in my head that got so bad. And, yeah, ultimately my motivation to keep on going was my kids and my passion for the industry, just because I refuse to give up. I refuse to give up. And, freshly after my car accident, I felt like, the industry was done for me, so because I felt like, it was done for me, it made me push myself even more. Like, no, like, I'm still gonna, like, try to do this. I'm still gonna try to do that. And I still showed up to, like, do a few, like, gigs here and there. And then, then I pushed myself so much that, like, I was so focused into continuing to pursue my passions that I was neglecting my health. And that's whenever this last year or this year, I was just like, okay, this year I'm just gonna stop, take a pause, and just focus on my health. And then starting next year, all right, back full force. And I'm gonna get back in it, and
Yeah.
nothing's stopping me.
It's crazy that you still have projects there getting we're going to be 2025, so you're going to already start with something going in 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I know you were a little bit under the weather, a little bit of battling through coughing, but man, such a professional to be able to, pass that and be able to be here to share with us again, I seen your story with the homies, the cancer show, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was, I didn't know so much at that time. I just had like a real curiosity about like, oh man, I think there's something more. So I appreciate you be able to open up to me as far as even the tips in general, because I think sometimes the maybe the industry doesn't want to tell you everything for people that want to give it a try.
Yeah.
So to be able to give those tips to anybody that maybe want to give it a go, I think it's great. I think the reason why I bring people here is to give that, to give that perspective, to give that insight, to be able to, at one moment you were normal,
Mm-hmm.
you were regular 2 jobs. All of a sudden now you're,
And I had to figure it out on my own. And like, you're right about that. People in the industry, they do treat it as a big secret. No one wants to, give out the ingredients of like how to become successful on their own. But, I was blessed to like, not have anybody to show me. I did it on my own. I figured out ways in, how to get jobs, how to put that effort in. And to me, I'm very big on women empowerment, on like showing others. If I'm able to like help you do something to like help you grow and pursue your passion, I'm very willing to help out. But you also do got to put the effort, because I also have had like people that they say they want to do it and they want to put in the work, but then they are just reaching out to me. Hey, what, did you find another gig? Send me another gig and it's just like, whoa, hold on. I'm like, I'm letting you know all the tools and everything you need. I'm not a babysitter. I'm like, I got to do my stuff too. And I got to look for my own stuff too. We all got to put in it. It all depends on how bad do you want it. You will put in the effort in to make yourself successful, just depending on how much do you want it.
Yeah, that's true to that. And without a doubt, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for all the insights that you gave us. And without a doubt, you definitely, Lisseth Nava, you are a Global Latin Factor. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember, subscribe. Don't be playing. I'm going to find you. I have ways to find people. I'm just kidding. Don't be scared. But do please subscribe, because it helps us a lot, and give us a comment. And we'll see you again. And remember, we are just like you. We are people. We are the spice in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time.
Like this video.
Right now. You heard, lady. Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Make sure you go and subscribe to the channel and check out one of the other episodes that we have prepared for you. Thank you very much. Till next time.
We don't want to stay. We don't need to do world. We don't want to burn your mouth. And these.
What is the la vida? Looks like a pedo but in fact is a flamingo coming to Havana.